Today is December 11, 2025. The air in the auditorium is thick with anticipation. On stage, an Asian American comedian is winding up a joke, one that starts with a recognizable accent and a familiar parental expectation. You know, the relentless push toward choosing medicine or law. I didn't become either one. The punchline lands and the entire room erupts in laughter. It's a laughter that carries the complex resonance, recognition, relief, and perhaps a touch of discomfort. This genre of comedy, where Asian Americans, often second generation, riff on their own experiences, frequently leans into self-deprecation and plays with established Asian stereotypes. You know, the tiger mom, the perfect student, the perpetual foreigner, the pressure to succeed, and the often hilariously misinterpreted efforts of immigrant parents to navigate a new culture. These are the building blocks of sold-out tours and viral clips delivered by names like Joe Coy, who famously captures the Filipino-American experience. My favorite, Zarna Garg, whose work dissects the strictures of Indian-American motherhood. Atsuko Okatsuka, who finds the absurd and cultural contradictions with her mom and grandmother suffering dementia with deadpan delivery. And then there's Joel Kim Booster, who uses humor to navigate queer identity within the context of his Korean heritage. On the surface, it might look like selling out, a cheap embrace of the very tropes that have historically limited and pigeonholed the Asian American identity. But to view it in this way is to miss the profound, almost therapeutic function this humor serves for the community itself. When a comedian articulates a specific, often unspoken family dynamic, like the intense quietness during a car ride, punctuated only by a passive-aggressive cough, they are validating an entire generation's private reality. This shared recognition is where the power lies. It transforms isolated, sometimes alienating experiences into collective common ground. The laughter is the sound of 1,000 people saying, "Me too." Beyond the audience of shared heritage, this comedy is one of the most effective tools for outreach to the rest of America. Humor, by its nature, disarms. It allows for the transmission of serious, nuanced cultural experiences under the veil of a joke. When a comedian makes light of their parents' broken English or their own discomfort with public displays of affection, they are not just mocking, they are translating. They are creating an accessible entry point into the immigrant experience for an audience that might otherwise view it through the lens of statistics or news reports. Self-deprecating humor in this context is a strategy of reclamation. By taking the stereotype and turning it into a punchline, the comedian strips the trope of its power to harm. It's a form of ownership. It says, we know this is what you think of us, and we are going to make it funny on our own terms. The comedy is often born from the friction between two worlds, the traditional expectations of the immigrant home and the individualistic, often confusing landscape of American life. The frustration that fuels these jokes, the struggle to reconcile identity, the feeling of never being American enough or Asian enough is channeled into art. This outlet of shared frustration helps to build bridges not just within the diverse Asian American communities, but between them and the broader American tapestry, one laugh at a time. It's an assertion that the Asian American experience is not monolithic, it's not silent, and certainly not a punchline to be delivered by others. It is complex, funny, frustrating, and fundamentally uniquely American. So when you see an Asian American do a comedy routine that pokes fun at their Asianness, it's okay to laugh. Laugh with us. By the way, Zarna Garg has an awesome memoir out called This American Woman, a 1 in a Billion Memoir, now available at your favorite local indie bookstore. You can buy your books on bookshop.org, so more of your money goes to the local bookshops. The New York Times explains Zarna turns her astonishing life story into a hilarious memoir, spilling all the chai on her wild ride from escaping an arranged marriage and homelessness in India to carving her own path in America and launching a dazzling second act in midlife.